witches! Welcome to week 9 of the journey through the tarot.
This week we focus our learning on Ace through 10 of the Suit of Cups.
These cards show people relating to the outside world, whether alone or accompanied by others.
Whether we're bonding with a love interest, celebrating with friends, or leaving the past behind, cups are all about relationships.
So grab your notebook and your tarot cards and let's get started. Good evening, everyone.
Hello, witches, beautiful souls. How are you?
Magic workers, workers of the light. There's all these titles and names that we can have for being spiritual, and even if it's just for ourselves, I still think that the work that we do trying to understand and divine messages and make connection is so important for our soul here.
And here's the thing, what I have found anyway, is if you do it for yourself, you end up spreading that around. Because
Definitely.
you find yourself being nicer to people.
Yeah.
Kat, specifically.
In quotations right here.
Even especially like in work interactions, because work can be so frustrating. Okay, so you only know your coworkers on this like work level, right? So you don't ever really get to know much about their personal lives. So when they're really frustrating you with stupid requests and shit like that, you're like, I really have to take a step back and go like, I might gripe under my breath, but I know better now than to say anything back other than it's not, it doesn't even have, I wouldn't say anything nasty. It would be more like what I consider calling somebody on their craft, but now I'm not going to spend my time doing that because I realize it's not really helpful, and so now I want to preserve what little bit of a relationship that I have with a few of my coworkers who are now remote workers for me. And I don't want to do anything to potentially damage or put a thorn in somebody's side because I said something that they, and you're writing emails. So anyway, just to say, the point of saying all that is, and I'm speaking from personal experience. So if you do not know what I'm talking about, bless you, I'm happy for you. But if you are like me and you're kind of a Scorpio, like or you got that Scorpio energy where you just are super blunt and will just say things like just the right come out of your mouth and you don't think about other people and how that might affect them. Kat. And now I was for like quotations over her again.
If you do this,
then but if you do happen to relate to that, and you are that type of person, there's hope for you too. Because believe me, if there's hope for me, there's hope for anyone.
Well, and we're doing the cups tonight, and this is about like relationships and feelings and how we're treating people. But imagine all the things Kat just explained about herself, and then being a child to somebody who maybe speaks very bluntly or doesn't always consider your feelings when they go to say something.
Are you talking about your mother now? Your Scorpio mother? Yes, I think she is. I raised her.
In quotations. Hypothetically speaking. No, when you said
I really actually feel sorry for anyone who had a Scorpio mother.
No,
kind of, sort of, depending on the type of Scorpio mother you were.
And the signs, I think it just depends. We got lucky. We have both the same rising and moon, and then we're both water signs. But I'm a Pisces, sensitive Pisces, and she's a Scorpio. Like kind of the harsher of the water signs. Maybe.
It's the sting, it's the Scorpio sting. I don't know. Anyway, but really, what it amounts to is just a lack of recognition in the words that you say and how they impact other people, or not wanting to see that. Maybe, you don't want
That's
to.
Gross.
You don't want to recognize what you say and how it impacts other people. But in my life review, there will be many of those things about how I made so and so feel. When I didn't even realize it because I was so obtuse.
Yeah, well, I think that's where, if it's uncomfortable, that means you're changing, right? If you're really comfortable with how you behave and what's going on, you're staying the same. The growth is lacking. So as you discover new parts about yourself and how you want to be in the world and what you want to spread,
well,
and it's hard and uncomfortable sometimes, you're growing, you're making
am
real
growing.
change, and I love that
Well,
for
and
you.
the interesting thing about it
'Cause it makes
is
you
all
happier.
this storytelling of my own personal growth through this journey of the last 4 or so years has to do with our lesson tonight, which is about cups.
It
And
is about
cups is
cups.
about relationships
Mhm.
and
And
connections
connections.
and family and all of those really emotional things. Oh my gosh.
It's where
So
we can grow.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all the opportunities presented within the tarot are not challenges, not problems, but opportunities for growth. To
exactly.
go through the lesson and to come out on the other side with knowledge. That's what it's all
That's the whole
about.
human experience
That's
is for growth, is to grow
that
and learn these things.
I think the tarot is supposed to represent
Yeah.
most of our human experiences. So this is like summed up.
So
Here's
I'm
the 78
listening
things you might
to
go through.
72, is it 72 keys of manifestation?
I think so.
72 keys of manifestation. And
She's
that's-
interesting.
She's a really interesting. She's got a YouTube channel. Her
Yeah.
name's Maria, but she smells it.
She
She
smells it.
She spelled it really unusual, like Maryra, I think, Maria. Anyway, she's on YouTube, which is how we came across her.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm giving you half information. I should have looked that up before I said anything, but
It's
we'll
on
share
our
it.
YouTube channel though. It's one of the channels that we
Yeah, she's
recommend
really
or something
interesting
like
to
that.
listen to. She does a lot of meditation stuff, and she really gets off in some really deep stuff,
deep
like
stuff.
really deep, but
Shadow
it's interesting.
stuff.
Shadow work.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Ah,
without
without
further ado,
Tonight's lesson, we are going over the wands, ace through 10. What did I do?
you said the wands, ace through
Oh
10.
gosh, I did that when we were discussing it. No. We're going over the cups, ace through 10. Thank you for the nudge.
Uh-huh.
Did I say it wrong? Okay. Since I don't have my tongue together, I'm gonna let Kat start.
Okay, as we already said, the Ace of Cups, well, we may have said, but we're gonna reiterate, Ace of Cups.
Oh, you're
The
done.
element of cups is where, okay, so here's the thing. Overall, cups is where we find the emotional fortitude
Emotional fortitude.
to form lasting relationships. These are the lessons that we need so that we can get along better and get closer to people in our life. And then I think also just interact with other human beings, maybe not that aren't in our lives, but that we just cross paths with every day. So
Yeah.
it's about us being better people toward other people in that outward way. And then also getting that connection, making that connection with other
Mhm.
people, which is really important for us as just spiritual beings. And, it's good. It's our well-being too, to have those connections and be able to get along and
To get along.
Okay.
To be along and to get along.
Okay. So we're going to start with the Ace of Cups. You want to display?
This-
Oh, it's up there. Okay.
Yeah, I am doing my job tonight.
Okay, I didn't even
We'll
see
see
it.
we'll see how long that lasts.
Okay. Do you want to start? You want to say? I
Yeah,
did.
I guess because I really did a lot of the background on this card. I went into many rabbit holes with it, but I want to warn you guys right now. There is a lot of symbology in this card. You do not have to necessarily write it all down. But if you look at it, you'll be like, well, what's that? And what's that? And what's that? So I did want to include it all here. But the overall message of the card is actually very, very simple. And I will say it a couple times so you won't miss it. But the aces in general represent new beginnings, right? So there are 4 of them within the deck, and they're all part of the different elements. And these are just the new beginnings within that element. The ace represents new love or new relationships. So this is a time or a spark from the universe that's trying to allow you to make a connection with somebody new, to have a new love interest, to create a new friend. If there's a new family member, so birth, think of any time where you might make a new personal connection. That's what this card would represent inside of a reading. Now, I'm going to work from on the card symbology wise from the top down so that you guys can sort of understand the flow of it. Because I do think that when Pamela Coleman Smith drew this, I think that there was flow to this card. We're going to start with the dove. So the dove is a symbol of, you have peace, love, transformation, but we're going to focus on that transformation. So the dove in this card is about the transformation of our soul to go into the human form, which is where that little, I'm going to laugh, host wafer is. It is a symbol from communion. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct.
So the reason why the dove, this element that's presented as transformation, our souls coming into our physical form, is carrying that wafer of sacrifice, is because what we sacrifice as souls to come in and have this experience. So it's going through it like that. Because then when we get to the cup, if you'll notice those 5 flowing water spouts coming out of it, that is soul sacrifice, the 5 senses down to earth. So think of the card sort of like that. This is spirit bringing us into manifestation. That's the symbology overall, is what that means. I didn't even read the thing that I wrote down, but there's also with this card a big sign of grace. This is something that we forget to give ourselves when we go through trials and tribulations. We forget to have grace for us being spiritual beings in a human body and trying to figure out what the hell we're doing here and how this is supposed to go. And do we protect ourselves or help others, and the balance between that kind of. So in this card, there's also grace that you should be giving yourself and other people who are also just trying to figure out how to be a soul in a human body. That really sums up the symbology of the card. But
The only thing, can I add something?
yes, of course, please do.
Okay, I've always been curious about either what is that M or the upside down or the W. So what is
Yes.
that? Because it has a meaning. It's
Okay.
there, they put it there. So
Yes. So this chalice or cup is actually representing the womb. All right. So you can have the W could mean womb, it could mean women, it could mean
mother,
water. So anything that has to do with that, it's the creation place where we go through this to become human. So, and it can be spiritual creation, but since we're talking about the physical sense, that W could mean those words. Now, there are theories out there where this W is not representative of any other W's that Pamela Coleman Smith put in her art on the tarot. It actually looks more like the M. And with the M, we think about the mysteries of creation, right? It's fascinating to think how all this came together. So the M could also mean mystery. It could mean, well, there's a Hebrew word for water, and then it's mem. I think I'm saying it right. But so there's the M words. I wrote that down. Oh, and mother. So mother, again, back to like womb, mother, mystery, water, womb, creation. However, write down a word that you think the card represents. You know, whatever that is for you, if you want to write down what the W means. But it could be as simple as water, if that tells you that there's creation there, or everything needs water here to live. I mean, we also need air, but find your connection, because otherwise these symbols don't need to mean anything to you. It's only when you dive deeper into it where you start going, oh, I've made a new connection with that, and the card feels I have an even deeper understanding of it. But we didn't want to pass that up as far as explaining some of those symbols. So putting this all together, I told you it's going to be very simple with all the complex symbology. It's actually just a new connection in relationships, whether it's love, family, friends. That's all this truly represents. But you can see that they thought hard about bringing in the symbology of like the soul coming in to do and experience all of these things.
And I guess the important thing to remember too about this is that the aces are always the starting point for that
right
new relationship.
Thing.
Yeah, the very beginning thing that happens. So
yeah.
Okay.
All right. Moving on to, oh, I don't have my, I got it. There it is. Moving on to the Two of Cups. Also a card with big symbology, but I'm going to let Kat go over this unless you want me to take it.
You know, I feel like you did all the work that you should do it.
Oh, you letting me off the hook? Oh, okay. No, she wasn't. She was actually telling me to do it. I was just like, oh,
no, I was like,
already.
I think you enjoyed it, and
I do.
She, you know,
the
went down
symbols,
many rabbit holes.
The secret language
to put together what this card represents.
Yes.
So.
The Two of Cups. So we know that the number 2 is all about duality and partnerships. That's what the 2 represents through all of the numbered cards in the tarot. But this card is specifically about partnerships. And if you look at the 2 people who are meeting, you can tell that they are from different areas, because one has a laurel wreath on and the other one has a flower wreath on. So these are 2 sometimes they say opposites, but I just think of like two differing communities coming together in union. This is where the partnership comes together. So walking through the symbology of it, I'll start at the top again. What is the lion with the wings? What is happening there? Again, theories, right? Where does this make sense? But this is one symbol of duality within the card. That lion is the lion from the strength card, because when two opposites come together, there can be strength, right? There's the yin and the yang. So that's part of it, the lion from the strength card. And then you have the wings are actually from the Scorpio in its eagle stage. And it is part of the, say the word, card. I practice it.
Caduceus.
Caduceus. The wings can be part of the caduceus, but the wings actually mimic the same wing shape as the lovers. So that's another union card. So you have this, those are two cards that this specific card mimics in its imagery and how she drew it. So because it's got a Scorpio wings for the eagle part of being a Scorpio and the lion, which is Leo, you've got fire and water mixing together. So this also shows a powerful opposites attract and become something better, right? Together, they become more powerful. The caduceus, which is the two snakes wrapping around, is definitely from, like, I want to say Greek. I think it even, there is stories about this through many traditions, but this was something that represents health. So you have the opposites attract to create power. You have health overall, because when we have communities that join and we're not against each other, there is greater health within the community. So in duality, we are able to experience both sides because we give each other the things that we're missing. Whether you're talking masculine and feminine sides coming together, day and night, think of anything that has duality. That's what this is representing. Now for the people and the exchange of their cups, this is where it's a mutually beneficial relationship. That would be the meaning of the card. This represents two communities coming together in a mutually beneficial way. So it could mean people, just two individuals. It could mean communities. It could mean countries coming together, but it's a union of opposites.
It could mean a marriage.
It could mean a marriage. It's a union of opposites. So however you want to take that, it's like, that things are happening and people are coming together. Okay.
Love that.
Yes. It's lots of imagery for kind of a simple meaning, but I wanted you to see that she repeated it so many times within there to give it that special significance. We're moving on to, sorry, I saw something pop up. We're moving on to the Three of Cups. Kat loves these cards. She's so cute. I love this. She gets so excited when she sees people cheering and celebrating.
I do. It just makes me happy. The community spirit of it. People happy. They're celebrating. What are they celebrating? Something. Okay. So the threes are about threes in the tarot, or threes. Yeah, I guess in tarot.
Three in tarot. Yeah.
Three in tarot is represents creation and creativity. And the Three of Cups is about celebration and community. And what we see here, this card's pretty easy to interpret. If you didn't know anything about it, you would know, hey,
Like,
there's some
what's
happy
happening?
people. They're having a celebration there. So what are they celebrating? They're cheersing. There's three friends who were cheersing. There's a pumpkin in here. So this pumpkin in the lower right corner, that's a representation of abundance and prosperity.
Mm-hmm.
Then notice that we have the harvest decor kind of in the background. You see that? And this denotes the length of time that these three women have been friends. It's a place in a year, if you will. So it's imagine it's the beginning of the year, now it's the fall. They've at least been friends through the cycle of the season of planting, growing, harvesting.
And the reason why that's important is because this doesn't denote new friendship. This denotes like long lasting friendship, or friendships that have happened for a long time, or people you've had connections with for a long time.
So putting it all together, this is a card about celebrating with dear friends who support you.
So I don't know what I was trying to use for, how do you, I don't want to say best friends, because that doesn't have to be it. I mean, because it could be family members, but I put dear friends because I think that that's somebody that even if you spend time away from, or they live in another state and you've never met them, I still think that you can be dear, dear friends. And like, because you already just feel like you know those people or that person and everything feels so great. So that's that. I put dear friends in there for that specific reason. We are now moving on to the Four of Cups. I love this little pouty kid. He's like such a kid. Reminds me of my son when he was little. If like he didn't get to go somewhere or something. So the Four of Cups is a card that does represent discontent, and it's pretty easy to see his little attitude there of discontentment. And the four within the tarot represents stability and foundations. So these things sort of feel opposite of each other, discontent and then having stability. So if we look at the symbols within the card, and also this is the only card in the tarot besides like the aces that show, the universe like trying to offer you a gift kind of thing. It's like, here it is, buddy. The pouting person is avoiding looking at the situation, right? So doesn't want to see what's happening in front of him, doesn't want to acknowledge the gift. That's the discontent. Just nope, don't care what's happening. In my head, it's already bad, or I'm not happy with it. The cup coming out from the cloud with the hand is the universe trying to provide an opportunity. But when we're not looking, we're like, there is nothing in my, like, I'm looking, look at me looking. And it's over here. You're like, you're not looking everywhere. You gotta expand your view there. Then the three cups in front are showing us that these are bright, strong, in the forefront of the card, sturdy cups. These are the gifts he already has. This is his stability, right? These are the things already lined up to give him what he wants. And here's the universe offering that fourth thing to create that stability. And he's just refusing to see it. He's like, no, I didn't get it. I didn't get it when I wanted it. So now I don't want it. Fine. That's the attitude here. So if we put it together in a simple sentence, it's being unsatisfied with your current situation. And I want to put current situation in there because we can change it. Every day we can wake up and choose to be different. But this is unsatisfied with the current situation. A little powder. We're moving over to the Five of Cups.
Well, and now that we were unsatisfied with our current situation, we just get more misery with the Five of Cups. And this is a card about loss and disappointment. So remember that the fives in the tarot all the fives represent change and conflict.
Mm-hmm.
The Three of Cups, so we'll just take a look at the symbology. We have three cups that are spilled. This represents loss or a bad decision. The man who looks like he's in mourning, he is in mourning. He's wearing a black cloak. He's got his head down and his back turned to us like the hermit, or almost like the hermit. He's unable to move away from the loss. So he's just kind of wallowing in it. But out of his sight, because he's not looking up and around to see what else is in front of him or around him, what opportunities there are. Beyond him, there is a bridge. And there's a way out of this situation for him, but he doesn't see that. If only he would turn around and look. Mm-hmm. When we put this all together, this is a card about not moving on after mistakes or losses and getting stuck looking back.
Yeah. The getting stuck looking back, I mean, this is a view, right? These are the emotions that are within us. These cards do represent emotions and connections. And sometimes we become fixated on the broken relationship that we want to fix so bad. If maybe we put more time, effort, money into it. And instead we should be turning around and trying to find that bridge to get us away from a situation that you can't put it back in the cup. Once it's spilled, you're not putting it back in there. So he could turn around and walk away with I think of them as like his dignity and his like hope. Maybe that's what the other two cups represent, to walk across that bridge, go to the town and refill them with something more joyful. But yeah, I like this one because conflict and change. Remember when we talked about the wands, sometimes there's not change until there's conflict. Sometimes things need to get broken so that you can do the change thing. Can I tell a really funny story? Oh gosh. It was, you guys, I watched a reel today or yesterday, I don't know when, but this girl was hilarious. I don't know why she came up on my feed. It was really funny. And she was like a fitness person. And she said, the moment I knew I needed to lose weight was when I realized I struggled to wipe my own butt. And I'm like, okay, that's when there's a conflict and something needs to change. That popped in my head. I hope that wasn't too inappropriate, but I thought it was very telling to be like, oh man, okay, this has gone too far. I now something has to like,
Well, I bet we
it's
could all
broken.
think of some time in our life where we're sort of stuck in a rut and like fixated on things that have already happened and not looking ahead to like, because there's always something in front of us there. When one door closes, another door opens.
Right.
You know, spilled cups doesn't mean the end of the world. It just means it's time to like pull yourself up by your bootstraps and you know, have a good like a positive attitude and open mind for other situations to present themselves to you.
Well,
Because
I think that's why there's the two cups behind him, right? Because it's like, okay, there's three bad decisions, or there's three bad things, or there's three broken stuff, whatever it is. But you can still look around, I'm sure, in any situation and be like, there are still good things in my life. And the card is sort of telling you, like, the answer is to look for the good things in your life. I think this is a good place to note that when we tell people, as you read tarot for yourself or other people, you don't ever want to leave the reading with like, it's miserable, it's all going to fail, like you're just doomed, it's crap, like that's it, I don't have anything positive.
don't be that witch.
Don't be that witch. See within the cards that there is always an opportunity to change the situation and to find something positive. All the cards, there is something positive, even if it's like, hey, there's nothing left for you here, walk away. That's the positive. They need to hear the message, walk away, there's still good things out there in the world, stop focusing on this thing, like get around it. However you got to do that. Call a therapist, get on antidepressants, whatever you got to do, but move around that situation so that you can be better and live a happier, more purposeful life. I'm sure we didn't want to come into creation and go, I want to be sad and miserable and cry over everything, or, you know, be sad and have bad relationships. And we don't want that. That's not what we came here for. No.
Okay.
Okay.
We have some work to do as spirits when we get back to the other side.
Well, we're moving on to the Six of Cups, which is a happy picture. Yay. Now we're on the lighter side of things. If we've walked away and we found our happiness from the five, in the six, we're going back to nostalgia. Like we're thinking back on happier memories. We've got the childhood stuff happening here. So sixes in the tarot represent harmony and balance, or sometimes rebalance, but harmony and balance. And with this card, what I think is the most important thing for it is the six cups filled with flowers, because I think that they're like bouquets, they're gifts of some kind. It's offerings. You can give them to people, you can keep them all for yourself, but there are happy things that you've collected and you can share them with people, or you can,
Decorate your own house.
decorate your house. Yeah, like why not?
Who doesn't love a bouquet of flowers at home?
Exactly. So the child in the card represents a childhood, or for me, I think it can also just represent the past. So depending on your age, I don't always think that it's actual childhood. I just think that it's, a decade, 2 decades ago, something like that. You take it how you feel it comes up in a reading, but it does mean the past. The exchange between the two, what I think are girls, two little girls, is giving gifts brings the harmony. So this is representative of the six. It's when we have things and we share, we create a harmonious environment. When you're selfish and you're hoarding, it's not harmonious. So when we put this all together for the Six of Cups, this is a memory or a person or a situation that brings up joyful childhood memories. You can also take out childhood and put past memories, but these are joyful memories brought up by a person, situation, something. I love it. We're on a happy note. So that is the Six of Cups, and we are moving on to the Seven of Cups.
So in the Seven of Cups, this is a cup of, hey, choices. 7 different choices. And this sevens represent spirituality and intuition. And in this card, the prominent, aside from the cups filled with different choices that we have this shadow figure, which it could be anybody. It's really nondescript.
Yeah.
So that's anyone.
It's not meant to look scary. We've heard like it's a nightmare. I'm like, again, take it as you want, but I think that it's purposely a shadow so that it doesn't have to represent anybody. It's like it can be anybody.
So the other prominent thing we have is the cups are in these gray clouds, right? So the cups are in, our options are in the ether, so they're not manifested yet.
Living out there.
The 7 cups that we have in
The
this
7
card,
options.
this are the 7 options.
Yeah.
These represent like wishful thinking, our fears, our goals, or temptations.
So I love that because if you look at the cards and you want to figure out what each one means for you or, what it might symbolize, that's awesome. Like do that for yourself and be like, oh, I can see which one looks like temptation, which one looks like, your fears, which one looks like goals. What was the last one? Wishful thinking. So, what do we spend our time wishing for or trying to manifest and bring about? And so she's put a plethora of just different items there to be like, I love the dragon because some people would be like, oh, that's a scary monster beast. And Kat's like, I would have a dragon. That's my hopeful wish. What? I'd love
I have dragons right up there.
Yeah.
I have 3 dragons.
So, and that's
So
why
yeah, I would dig that.
right, that's why there's 7 of them because not everybody's fears, goals, wishful thinking is the same, right? So that they're just like all on there.
So putting it all together, our relationship with our fears and desires.
That's what it is. Simple card with lots of imagery on it, isn't it? Just the relationship between us and our fears and desires. Easiest way to put it. Okay, we're going to move on to the 8 of Cups. I also love this card. I think all the Cups cards are pretty elaborate, right? Because there's emotion it's trying to evoke from us. All right. With the 8 of Cups, this is a card about moving on. Okay, we are moving on from situations. The 8s represent abundance. All right, here's another one that seems to clash, like abundance and moving on. You're like, how do you get an abundance of moving on? That's not how it's going to work out. With the top of the card, we're going to look at that eclipsed moon. All right, I have been looking at tarot for a long time, and I never truly noticed that this was an eclipse that's happening. That face in the circle is the moon eclipsing the sun. That's why the card sort of looks like it's at night, but still light out. That eclipsed moon is signifying this card is about transitions, right? So eclipses are the transitions. I think this is the only eclipse though, didn't we? Oh no, the moon card also, the moon. The placement of the cups is also really important, and trying to find a way to line this up for yourself. So I'll tell you the way that I see the cups representing the emotional damage or some kind of damage or something that you need to get away from, because remember, the cups represent our emotions, relationships, connections. So what does it mean that they're stacked like that? What I love is that hole on the top row, there's the hole where the man's feet are visible. This is where something got broken. This is where like the last straw, maybe the missing piece, when you realize you didn't fit together, talking about relationships.
The nail in the coffin.
Yeah. I mean, it's all the things that signify the thing that ends. It's like the end. That's it. Done. I'm really done.
I'm walking away.
I think of this, or Kat said this, and I thought it was genius because I put it was the hole of emotional damage, and she goes, it's the hole in your heart from where you're hurt. I was like, bingo, that is it. That is the connection. That gap there represents the hole in our heart when things are not going. We need to walk away from them. We need to get away from them. So of course the man walking, the next prominent thing, and you can see that this card goes out into the distance, like follow that water, and it's leading way back. So you can see that he needs to travel a long way. That's the moving on to signify. There's a moving away from this all. He's turned away from the situation, letting us know he's not happy here. He can't be here anymore. So just that back turned and walking away from the situation is the moving on part. If we put it all together, you have an abundance of, I put in air quotes, broken stuff, whatever those cups mean for you, relationships, emotions, family ties, whatever it is, there's just broken stuff going on and you have an abundance of that. Like there's enough to tell you that you need to go. That is what the card, as a simple statement, you have an abundance of broken stuff here. Move on, turn and leave. There's better things farther away. Moving on to the 9 of Cups.
Oh my gosh. So this card, this is a great card. This guy, this is a card about satisfaction. And remember that the 9s represent insight and solitude. So, okay. So what do we see in this card that's really prominent? We see this man who's puffed up with pride, and he is, you just by his posture and, you know, the expression on his face, he's really proud of himself.
Yeah.
Notice also, this is the only hefty man in all the cards. There's no other hefty men drawn. So
there's no hefty people.
There's no hefty people. They're all skinny because they have to work so hard and walk long distances from one village to the next. But this guy right here, this is a man of wealth and abundance because he eats really well. So this means, so his girth represents the wealth and fulfillment.
Yeah.
And you know what? He kind of glows in just like personal satisfaction. He seems very pleased with himself. So again, the 9 of Cups, satisfaction. The cups on the stage, these are his accomplishments all lined up. He's so proud of them, you know, so proud. When we put the meaning of the cards all together, we get that this is finding personal fulfillment and satisfaction in the things that we do or have accomplished, or
yeah, because this is a card about our personal insights, you know, of ourselves. And those cups, I know it looks like, you know, I always think of it as like an award show. He looks like he's got a bunch of trophies behind him. But when we realize that the cups are representing healthy relationships, healthy boundaries, probably, you know, making sure that you choose people that are good for you and that you are involved in things that are good for you. So
being kind to others, helping people.
His personal accomplishments are things that are relationship wise and, you know, health wise, even though he's like, maybe he's the guy in the neighborhood that like feeds all the homeless and like invites people over. And that's why he's so girthy. He's like, yeah, we just like sit around, eat and drink all together. Like the more, the merrier kind of thing, you know, invite everybody. Be merry. Yes. So
he looks like that too.
Yeah.
He could be merry kind of guy. I want to hang out with him.
This fancy red hat, you know, the passion for life right there. That red is action and passion. So I just think of it as like when he's sitting alone at night, because there's no family with him. He's done all this all by himself. He's really satisfied with what he's done on his own. You know, that's why it's his personal accomplishments. So that is what I see in the 9 of Cups. That guy is just, he's jolly. Like if
he is jolly.
He's a jolly little man. Moving on to the final card tonight, we are looking at the 10 of Cups. And we put this in a very simple statement. The 10 of Cups is like your happily ever after. It's going to look different for everybody, but it's whatever your happily ever after is. And the 10s in the deck within the tarot mean it's the end of the suit cycle and we're going to start again. So always remember that when you get a 10, it's the end of one cycle within the cups specifically, and that you're going to take all of that bliss with you and move on to like the next stage of life. What I'm thinking is that they don't realize that those kids grow up and become teenagers, and you need a lot of like blissful memories to remember why you want to keep your kids and not drop them off at police stations sometimes. Maybe we just think about that. He needs that blissful memory when they're young and have these great connections so that you can love them through all the hard stuff that they're going to put you through. I was on the wrong one. I think that the rainbow, and this is probably biblical somewhat, but it's also very true, that we get rainbows after rainstorms, right? We go through a lot of hard stuff and we get to a place where we're really happy. So this is our rainbow after rainstorms. And I think that the cups being up there just signify that each lesson, each hardship that we got throughout the debt, through the suit, is apparent. And you're like, I can now be grateful for those hard times because it did bring me right here. You know, to quote Taylor Swift, I'm like forgetting the words that I got harder, I got smarter, something in the nick of time. If anybody, now that I'm put on the spot, of course I can't remember it. But that's how we grow. You've got to be put into the hard situations to get to the end where you're like, I am so much smarter now. Like I know so much. I'm better. I've done more. I've been through it. Now you have your rainbow. So the joyous family is about belonging and bringing harmony within the family life, whatever that family looks like. It could be you and your pup, you and your cat. It could be, whatever relationship constitutes your family for you. It could be a very close circle of friends even, but whatever that family is for you. So when we put it all together, I do think that this card's kind of easy to see. Oh, this is a happy thing. We're having a good time. This is a great ending. Happiness and a sense of belonging. So that's really important within our communities and within our family ties. You do have that sense of belonging. There's not any question about whether or not you're supposed to be there. Like those are your ride or dies, whatever that is for your family. And you have to say it's belonging after the struggles, right? So you've been through stuff together and you're still together. So that's part of it, to know that we've gained all those 10 cup lessons to bring us right here and be like, we struggled, we got through it, we're still together, we belong. And then you're going to go start anew. It's like, yeah, carry this on to the next thing.
To the next elevation
next
of your
thing.
spiritual journey.
Yes.
All right. That's the cups.
That is the
Ace
through
10 of cups.
That felt really hard to get out. I don't know why. We thank you so much for being with us tonight. This has been so much fun for me. I got to really dive into some rabbit hole stuff and then put it on paper. Like I may have done this 15 years ago, but it all went away because I started using a totally different deck. So to have it all on paper now and be like, now I know this. And I hope that it really helped you guys know more about the cards, the symbology, why the cards mean a certain thing. And if you get feelings as you're going through and listening to the definitions, write down your feeling of that card. Use the words that really are your language, because that's what we've done. And that's what every tarot author does. They all use their own language, their own words that they feel comfortable with to describe the cards. And that's what really matters, because that's how you're going to feel like you're reading more flawlessly, more effortlessly. I'm tongue-tied tonight. I didn't take a sip of water. But we hope you got so much from this lesson, and we will be going over the homework on the live, but I guess the homework is the same from last week, and I did not put it up there. Did you print it? No. Perfect. We're going to wing this. The homework for tonight is the same from last week. We want you to take the 10 cards, Ace through 10, and we want you to look at them in sequential order and try to tell a story about what is happening and how somebody is, going through these life lessons, or maybe even in one day, whatever that looks like for you. And you don't have to know the card meanings to do it. Try to interpret it just from the visuals that you see. We always said aces are the hardest because you're like, well, I don't know what's really happening here. There's like a hand coming out of a cloud. But remember that is starting the journey. Something sparked, something happened. There was a meeting, a greeting, somebody you found. And now that is sparking the spiritual journey through the cups and whatever those next lessons look like. That is the homework for tonight. Thank you for joining us
for week 9 of our journey through the tarot.
Thank you for joining us for week 9 of our journey through the tarot, where we study the meaning of the numbered cards Ace through 10 in the suit of cups.
In these cards, we saw people bonding, sharing, celebrating with friends, and walking away from the past. Emotional experiences we probably all had at some point in our lives.
Learning tarot takes study and practice. So be sure to do the homework, which you'll find at the end of this video.